A single clue sparked an incredible family reunion after they gave up hope. For 8 years, everyone believed Daniel Ramirez was gone forever. But when his sister uncovered one tiny forgotten clue buried in a book no one had touched in nearly a decade, it unraveled a trail of secrets and lies hidden deep in the mountains. And at the end of that trail waited a reunion so shocking, the truth behind it still raises questions no one can answer. This is the incredible, unsettling, and emotional story of how a single misplaced clue revived an abandoned investigation, forced a family to confront 8 years of unanswered questions, and revealed that the man they mourned had been living in the shadows fighting for survival, hiding from powerful enemies, and hoping someone, anyone, would eventually find him. When Daniel vanished at 27, nothing made sense. He had plans, a job he loved, a family he adored, dreams he talked about constantly. He was reliable in every way, the kind of person who returned texts within minutes and always showed up early. So when he didn't arrive for a weekend hiking trip, his friends knew something was wrong. Hours later, police found his car abandoned along a quiet rural road. The driver's door was open. His wallet and keys were left inside. There were no footprints, no fingerprints, and no signs of a struggle, just an eerie stillness that seemed to swallow every answer. Detectives searched forests, interviewed everyone he knew, reviewed highway cameras, checked hospitals, nothing. It was as if Daniel simply walked into the air and dissolved. Months passed. Then a year, then two. By the third year, the lead detective retired. By the fourth, the case was moved to a filing cabinet. By the fifth, even the small-town newspaper stopped mentioning his name. But the Ramirez family never healed. His mother kept his room exactly the same. His father avoided talking about him because every conversation ended in tears. And Lucia, his younger sister, carried a weight no one else could see, the guilt of not knowing if she'd missed some warning sign. By year 8, the family's hope had faded into a dull ache. But everything changed on a quiet Sunday afternoon when Lucia opened a dusty cardboard box. The forgotten book. Lucia hadn't meant to search Daniel's things. She simply wanted to declutter the closet. But when she opened a box filled with his hiking books and trail maps, she felt an old familiar pain tighten in her chest. She picked up a travel guide Daniel had carried everywhere, crinkled pages, folded corners, handwritten notes in the margins. When she opened it, a slip of paper fell out onto the floor. At first, she thought it was a receipt. Then she saw the stamped date. A train ticket, dated 2 days after Daniel disappeared. The location printed on it was a remote mountain town far north, several hours from where his car had been found. The ticket had been validated, meaning it had been used. Lucia's entire body stiffened. Why would Daniel have gone there? Why had no one searched that area? And most unsettling of all, why had this ticket been hidden, neatly placed like a bookmark? Lucia sat on the floor for nearly an hour, staring at it, replaying every memory of Daniel she could access. Nothing pointed toward that town. Something inside her told her the ticket wasn't misplaced. It was left there. When she brought it to the police, they dismissed it instantly. It's too old. No proof he used it himself. Not enough to revive an inactive case. But Lucia didn't need their permission. Something inside her, hope, instinct, desperation, pushed her forward. She packed a bag, grabbed her keys, and drove north. A town that pretended not to see. The mountain town felt wrong the moment she arrived. It was quiet in a way that wasn't peaceful, more like a place where people watched from behind curtains and didn't speak unless necessary. When Lucia showed Daniel's picture around, people hesitated. They didn't deny it, they simply refused to answer properly. A gas station attendant locked the door after she left. A woman at the diner whispered to her friend as Lucia walked out. Finally, an elderly innkeeper at a wooden lodge froze when she saw the picture. "He stayed here," she whispered, "but he wasn't using that name." The woman explained that Daniel had arrived limping and exhausted using an alias. He paid in cash. He avoided crowds, walked only at dusk, and sometimes stared out the window like he expected someone to appear from behind the trees. The last night he stayed at the inn, he left suddenly. No warning, No explanation. Just a hurried goodbye and a trembling voice when he asked the innkeeper to forget he'd ever been there. Then he disappeared again. But before he left, he told her one more thing. If anyone ever comes looking for me, tell them to be careful, because someone else might be looking too. The cabin in the mountains. The innkeeper mentioned a trail leading deeper into the wilderness, a trail Daniel said he would take if he ever felt in danger. Lucia left early in the morning. The trail was steep, littered with fallen branches. The wind howled between cliffs like a warning. After hours of hiking, she reached a small clearing and saw a decaying ranger cabin leaning against a stone ridge. Her heart began pounding before she even stepped inside. The cabin smelled of smoke and damp wood. A sleeping bag lay in the corner. A rusted lantern sat on a crate. Food cans were piled neatly against the wall. Someone had lived there not years ago, but recently. When she saw the notebook on the table, her knees buckled. Daniel's handwriting. She flipped through the pages with trembling fingers. I can't go back yet. Too dangerous. Someone followed me. They think I'm dead, maybe that keeps them away. Tell my family I'm protecting them, not abandoning them. And then a final message. If I disappear again, the truth dies with him. Lucia stared at the page until her vision blurred. Who was him? A twig snapped outside. Lucia froze. A shadow darkened the doorway. A tall man stepped into the cabin, his boots silent on the wooden floor. His face was scarred, his expression unreadable. Don't be afraid, he said quietly. If you're here, you're looking for him. Lucia backed up against the wall. Where is my brother? She demanded. The man sighed. He's alive, but his life hasn't been what you imagine. He explained everything. Years earlier, Daniel had witnessed a violent crime involving a criminal network that operated through bribery, threats, and police corruption. When he agreed to testify, people inside the department leaked his name. Suddenly, dangerous people were searching for him. A small undercover task force, almost unofficial, was assigned to protect him. The scarred man was part of it. Their goal was simple: hide Daniel until the criminals were arrested. But the operation fell apart. Files vanished. Evidence was destroyed. 2 agents disappeared. Someone high up wanted the case buried. So the task force scattered. Daniel was left alone, and survival became his life. Why didn't he come home when the danger ended? Lucia cried. Because he didn't know it ended, the man said. And when he tried once, he saw people watching your parents' house. So he ran again. The man stepped aside and signaled. Footsteps approached from the trees. A figure emerged, thin, bearded, older, but undoubtedly Daniel. Lucia screamed and threw her arms around him. He clung to her like someone starved for human contact. I never wanted you involved, he whispered. I stayed away to protect you. I thought the less you knew, the safer you'd be. Then Lucia asked about the train ticket. Daniel shook his head. I didn't put that in the book, he said. I lost that book years ago. The scarred man's expression hardened. Then someone else wanted you found. Someone who watched the case from the shadows. Someone who waited until the threat was gone. Who? Lucia whispered. Nobody answered. The forest was silent. Some truths never come to light. Daniel returned home under quiet federal supervision. His family collapsed into tears. His mother held his face in her hands for minutes. His father pressed his forehead to Daniel's shoulder and sobbed like a child. Every neighbor who had prayed for him came to see him. Daniel explained pieces of his story, but not everything. Some details were too dangerous to speak aloud. Some names were better left unspoken. Eventually, the truth came out. The criminal network had fallen apart years earlier. Everyone who threatened Daniel was either jailed or dead. The danger was over. But the mystery of the train ticket, the clue that saved his life, remained unresolved. Who planted it? Who knew Lucia would find it? Who followed the case long after the world forgot? Daniel believed someone had been protecting him, someone with access, someone who didn't want recognition, someone who simply wanted him home. And maybe that's all that mattered. If this mystery kept you hooked, hit subscribe and stick around. More unbelievable true style stories are coming soon.